They say a clearly malnourished 12-year-old child crawled out of the window of Hildebrandt's Ivans area home. A neighbor called 911 when he showed up at their house asking for food and water from being tied up across his body. Investigators say they found a 10-year-old girl inside the same house who was also malnourished.
This whole situation has honestly taken the most brutal, horrible turn, and I'm going to do my best to try and break it down. I'm sure many of you are already aware, and if you're not, exactly what happened. And the police won't explain everything, but they have done a press release, and there's also been news articles on it as well. But this is going to be quite a shocking topic, especially if you have been familiar with these two people, with Ruby Franke and JODI Hildebrandt. If you've been familiar with them and you've been following along with the Mums of Truth connections, it's going to really hit hard, because a lot of people for a very long time have been saying that there are some deeply sinister and troubling things that have come out of them too, just based on what they've said, their parenting style, tips, whatever. It never ended with Ruby Franke. It never ended when the 8 passengers thing stopped. It went on, and they did the connections page, and if you've been following them, you'll realise that the stuff that they were spewing, in hindsight, people were outraged about it. But never in a million years did I ever think that this would be like the way that it's ended. So I'm just going to go and read the press release that the police gave, and then we'll have a little look. JODI Hildebrandt did actually release a statement, and I'll throw it up right here, but she basically turned around and she said that those kids can't be around other kids. And I've got a lot of things to say. I'm honestly, like, I've had to take a minute, because it actually has disturbed me. Like, it really has troubled me. I've followed along with the story for over a year now, specifically with the connections and Mums of Truth, and I just feel like I can't believe it's this bad. It really is troubling.
Franke now works for the Utah County company Connections along with Hildebrandt. It's described as a treatment program for those with mental health and addiction issues. Connections has been the subject of a lot of controversy, specifically for its teachings on parenting.
On August 30th, 2023, around 10:50 hours, a report came into our dispatch centre regarding a juvenile asking for help. The calling party stated the juvenile appeared to be emaciated and malnourished, with open wounds and duct tape around the extremities. The juvenile was asking for food and water. The condition of the juvenile was so severe that they were seen by Santa Claire Evans, apologies for that, EMS, and transported to a local area hospital. Information was obtained by police that other juveniles in similar condition may be in a nearby home. Officers arrived at the home and searched the residence, locating another juvenile in a similar physical condition of malnourishment. That juvenile was also transported by EMS to the hospital for treatment. So just before I go on, the residence that they were actually at was JODI's. It was JODI's residence. This was her residence. This is how it all comes to part. And the thing that makes it most sinister is that a lot of the Mums of Truth recordings that they do is supposedly at their home, at JODI's home. So a lot of the ones that you used to watch, were the kids there that whole time? Was this happening to the kids when they were making their little, like, Mums of Truth sit down sofa things?
If you have a child where you say, no, I want you to leave the bathroom door open and I will keep, your siblings away, but I am going to walk by. If you have behaved in ways that I am concerned about your ongoing behavior, which this girl has, this 13-year-old was sexting with another person, she has already shared with her parents and anybody else who knows that information that she does not know how to manage herself, and that she needs to have eyes on her.
She's not managing the bathroom.
A search warrant was obtained in connection with this incident. During the search of the home, evidence was located consistent with the markings found on the juvenile. The Department of Child and Family Services was contacted, and in a joint effort with the Springville Police Department, 4 minor children were taken into the care of the Department of Child and Family Services. JODI Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke were arrested in connection with the incident. Due to the sensitive nature of this case, no additional information will be released at this time. What is also really, really, really key to know is that not Jodie, well, maybe Jodie as well, but Ruby Frankie, it states this in a newspaper article, has actually been held without bail, so there's no chance of her being able to get out. I'm just in absolute shock horror that this was going on, that it was to this level of like depravity. And there are these two just sat there like spewing their utter garbage that they knew that they always do. It's just remarkable how two people can just be this messed up in the head. So on top of that as well, Shari Frankie, who is the daughter to Ruby Frankie, she posted as we're all aware, she posted a few stories basically saying that she's, happy that this has happened. This has been years in the making, etc., etc. And now she is basically asking people who have any past knowledge, prior knowledge, whatever knowledge, current knowledge of the connections page of Mums of Truth to basically Dropbox her. You can find all that information out on the Reddit thread as well. They've got all the relevant links. And I'll say it before, I'll say it again, but what an amazing woman, like, to actually stick by all of this and be strong, to actually want to go and look through this footage and just to hold on to that hope. And I know a lot of people have said it, but Shari really has... She's really like taken one for the team. Like, she's really persisted in this, and you can tell by the words that she said. I remember watching this podcast that she did where she was kind of alluding to the whole like connection situation and her family getting into this weird cult like thing and most of them not liking it, etc., etc. And the way that she spoke was just, it was like wise beyond her years. And that's not to sound patronising or anything in any way, shape or form. She's like, comes across as a very remarkable lady. So if you have anything like that, remember to send a Dropbox. I'm assuming she's going to have a hell of a lot of people. We've also had Bonnie as well, who is Ruby Frankie's sister, who has released a personal statement.
And this week has been nothing that I could have anticipated. I don't think any of us could have really anticipated. If you have the internet, you have seen news articles on my sister, Ruby, from the 8 passengers. And my sisters and I, we are on the very same page. We put out a message. You can read that on Instagram. And the last 3 years, we have truly clung on to each other and offering support to one another. And I don't think any of us could have ever seen this coming. We all did as much as we could legally, and you don't know what you don't know. I do feel a little bit numb at this point. The only thing that we ultimately care about is that our nieces and nephews are safe, and they are.
She was actually receiving quite a lot of hate, like a lot of hate on a post that she did on her Instagram. People were saying, if it was years, why didn't you do anything about it, etc., etc. And she basically states in the YouTube channel, she says, we did all we could do legally within that time frame. I can understand. I mean, I've never been in a situation like this ever, and I'm sure a lot of people never have done. And I don't think jumping to conclusions saying that, well, she should have done something if she knew this was going on. I don't like, but by the sounds of it, I don't think people realised it was this bad. Like, even it was just the way that Bonnie was saying it. And I don't think at a time like this, pointing fingers and saying, well, you should have done it sooner. I personally don't think that is the right approach. That's my own personal thoughts and opinions. You might think differently, especially as there's children involved, but no family member in their right mind would turn a blind eye to something like this. I'm sure it's been, as Shari was saying, it's taken them years of trying to get CPS and the police to do something about it, and it's now finally happened, so it's been a whole family effort by the sounds of it, and I just hope that they are doing that they're doing okay as well as they possibly could do. They should both go away for a long time. Like, that is deplorable. And the thing is that when you listen to like the Mums of Truth and the things like it's weird. Like, I'm not going to say the signs were there, but there was always something sinister going on. I remember I was looking through a few of the connections, you know, videos and things. I've done videos on this in the past, but there's this one on the Reddit thread that I saw actually of them two discussing children's privacy and how if a child basically goes against your wishes, you know, they're not allowed to have bathroom access privately. And I remember Ruby doing a video like that as well, saying, well, it's perfectly within the adult's right to look through the child's diary and journal because you need to know everything they do. And it's just the little things. Well, I don't think they're little things. I think they're deeply troubling things that no parent should do to their child. I think there's so much evidence out there that these two were just evil people. There's just a lot of evidence out there. There just is. And I hope that just all of this can be brought to the forefront to sort this out, because that is next level to the fact that a child was literally had to climb out of JODI's house and go and ask for food or water, and they were emaciated, they had lacerations from where they were being tied down. That is like deplorable. You've got to be mentally unwell. And the fact that these two were just getting off scot-free, advising all these people doing this and that, they're just wrong.
Oh my gosh. You expect just a handful of us to stand up to this aggression and evil? This is why aggression and evil has dominated our world, because there's too many of us that want to live in truth that are not standing up. So please, at a minimum, please, I don't understand why you won't do it. Go on to Moms of Truth. There is a link underneath every single video that says, give us a review. Click it and give us a 5-star, please. It will get our rating back up.
One thing to note as well is that I've had quite a few people saying, is Kevin the husband, ex-husband? It says Ruby Frank's husband, but let's be real, I don't think they've been together for a long time. Neither do many other people. He has not been arrested. There's actually a note from his attorney, which I will focus on right here, where Kevin basically wants to get the kids together under his fatherly care. He was not involved in this. They actually, when they kind of started forming the connections, oddly enough, JODI Hildebrand manages to split up pretty much most couples. If you go onto her marriage counselling, whatever site, the amount of feedback that she's been given by her ex-client saying that she made my marriage F up, she tries to isolate the women away from the men. And I'm not even lying about this. This has generally been like proven. And the odd thing is, as soon as she met Ruby, guess what happened? Ruby and Kevin, no more. And it's that whole entire thing. I'm not sure if it's like just because they're faith that they haven't divorced, but they're not together. They're not together. Yeah, that's basically it for this video. I just wanted to recap on what I shared last time. I'm really sorry if this video is like not in high, obviously it's not going to be in high hopes, like it's serious. Like I really, like my heart hurts for the whole situation. It's one of those things that you hear about happening and your jaw drops and you just don't even know what to say. It's just despicable, and I just didn't think it would turn out in this way. I knew it was, you know, I had a sneaky feeling that, you know, things aren't quite right with, you know, JODI and Ruby. Never would have thought it was to this level of abuse. And it's just really shocking and it's not very nice. So this video hasn't been very bubbly, but it's just meant to be informative. I really do hope that you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.
No. My bedroom was taken away for 7 months and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October. And they gave my room back like 2 weeks